but he's obviously got his eyes on something. I can tell that from watching many, many tapes over the years. He is reading some sort of key. And if you're reading your key correctly, then you react this fast. Okay. There was no hesitation here. Okay. He diagnosed this play really fast. All right. And got in there really fast and made a really good tackle again. Okay. So that play there shows off instincts again and just football IQ. And I would imagine he's doing exactly what he's coached to do. That play right there translates really well to the collegiate level.
How to Get a College Football Scholarship, a series where we evaluate active high school football players and share with them what they can do to make their highlight video better, as well as the divisions that they have the best chance to earn a scholarship at, and then most importantly, what they can do to get to the next level. And joining me today is our head football coach here at Next Play, Brian Overton, who has over 15 years of Division I recruiting experience. Before we jump in, if you'd like to see if your son qualifies or meets the criteria to get a professional evaluation, I'll leave a link right below this video. Brian, let's jump into it. Can you introduce us to the player we're evaluating today? Give us a little background on him, height, weight, size, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Good player we're evaluating today is a 2026 linebacker, Ian Quick. I've got him pegged at about 6'1", probably 210 pounds or so, give or take 5 pounds there. So he's got really good size at linebacker as a junior, and I really like this tape. And we're just going to jump into it right now. So I skipped ahead a little bit, so I'm gonna go through some plays here, guys, that I had him adjusting his tape a little bit instead of letting it play from the beginning. And I want to go through it with you because I'm going to tell you the same things I kind of told him as to why I thought he should shuffle these plays around. So jumping in here to his first play right here, obviously he's lined up, in the B gap, but really good instincts and right here. And he also avoids this block. Okay. So people may not think that's a big deal. And I'll pause it right there to say, a lot of times, people think that he's just supposed to, take on this block, or whatever the case may be. Now, it depends on how you're being coached and what you're being asked to do in the defense on that call. All right. If you're athletic enough to slip this block like he did right here and make this stick and stop tackle for no gain, you absolutely, they are going to want you to do it. Okay. So this is just a really good play showing off his instincts, his versatility, and his physicality at the point of attack. Okay. So I had him move that play.
The way he dipped his shoulder and got under that offensive tackle, that's legit. That is definitely
shows good bend there, good athleticism there, and really good instincts. Okay, and ducking under that block is instincts as well. Not only does it show athleticism, but it also shows instincts as well. And again, showing the physicality at the point of attack when he got there with a stick and stop tackle. Okay, this next play was right behind it. Actually, I like this shot because it's an end zone shot, tight copy. You can kind of see his length a little bit, which helps, also in these tight copies. So you can see his length here. All right. And just to give you a preview here so I don't have to rewind it as much. Okay, they're going to kick this ball outside. They're going to toss the ball outside to the running back. And I want you to watch here how, he scrapes over the top while not losing ground. Okay, so he reads the play really well. He keeps scraping across. He's moving. He's gaining ground, and ends up making a really good play. It looks like for no gain or maybe even a loss. Okay. So the guy kind of stutter steps, he starts and stops and still makes a really good play, okay? Again, the coaching point is here, he's not losing ground, okay? And see there where he had to stop? I'll show it for you right here where the running back kind of pauses right here, like he's getting, try to puncture it right there behind the end block. And then he takes off again. So that was a good start and stop also while gaining ground. All right. Really good play side to side there.
Okay? On an instinct, really- Just watching that play, what do you think his 40 is? Or more 5'10", 5? I mean, that's reactive.
Right now, I would say watching that play, and again, you got to remember, I had the advantage of watching the whole tape. So right now, I would say his split, is probably better than the long speed. You know what I mean? He's probably quicker than fast. Yeah, but I do think he has good speed right now, and I went into that later on, in the evaluation about the long speed. So the good thing is, like, his short area quicks are pretty good, right now, and his short area burst is pretty good right now that he showed off on that deal. I want him to get better at his long speed for other reasons that we'll talk about, when we talk about getting better at some things, So, but you're right. He does show good short bursts there on that exact play. So
Hmm.
here's another guy. Here's another play, guys. I had him move up. I had him move these into top 4 plays. Okay, before I let that one play. Those two, and this would be the third one. And again, this is the same thing. And the reason I like this one the most, to be honest with you, is, and again, nobody, we don't know what he's being coached here, okay? But he's obviously got his eyes on something. He's reading a key of some sort, okay? I can tell that from watching many, many tapes over the years. So he is reading some sort of key, and if you're reading your key correctly, then you react this fast, okay? There was no hesitation here, okay? He diagnosed this play really fast, all right, and got in there really fast and made a really good tackle again. Okay, so that play there shows off instincts again and just football IQ, and I would imagine he's doing exactly what he's coached to do. Okay, that play right there translates really well to the collegiate level. Okay, playing a
Right.
linebacker. And then I've got one more for you here. This one here, same thing. Okay, shows good instincts. Shows great reaction time. He doesn't hesitate, and again, he's putting his face on you, man. He's putting that helmet on you in there, for no gain. So I love his physicality at the point of attack. He diagnoses fast, and when he gets there, you're going on the ground. Okay, so those 4 plays there, I had him move up to the front. Okay, and those were some of the adjustments that I had him make, and then I had him on this play right here. And I show a lot of plays that I had them move up and arrange in a good way and things like that. This one I had him take out, okay? Because again, here we don't know what he's being coached to do, and I want to believe that he put this on here because he was showing contained is what I'm thinking, okay? But again, you got to keep in mind, guys, coaches, evaluators don't know that, okay? They don't know that what
Right.
you're being coached to do or whatever the case may be. In an evaluator's eyes and a coach's eyes, they may just look like you getting blocked all the way out of the play, out of bounds. You know what I mean? Which is, not very good at linebacker. So I'm sure he had a good reason to put it on there, but I told him to take this play out just so you leave no doubt. You don't want them guessing whether, that was just a bad play that you put in there or you were doing what your coach to do. Just don't even give them the
Yeah.
chance to overthink it. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
take that play. Just take that play out.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, Brian. I just want to take a second to like emphasize why we do that and the whole purpose of the video itself, right? The video is not to get you an offer, right? Unless you're like a top, ESPN 300 guy or 247 sports guy, like it's just not how it works, right? So the purpose of the tape is to get the coach interested enough in you to continue the recruiting process, which may be a visit, which may be a camp, which may be um, a phone call, right? Which may be a coach taking it to the defensive coordinator or the head coach, right? We just want to get them to continue the process. It's not to get an offer, right? So when you're making your highlight tape, and Brian, when we evaluate players, we not only tell them the division, but we give them feedback on what to do with their highlight video to make it better, to move plays around. We've had players where we tell them to move plays around, and then all of a sudden they get an offer. We just had that, right, Brian?
Yeah.
One of our seniors,
Yeah.
just by moving plays around. So the purpose of the video is to get to the next step of the recruiting process, which typically is a phone call or a visit or a camp, or for the coach to go to the next level up. So when you're making your highlight video, think in terms of what plays do I need to be in here just to get the coach interested, right? You don't need to show everything that you can do. Um, that's not like a splash play, right? It's good to show things that you can do, but if it's not like a big good play, then it's probably not worth putting it on there. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, guys, and I say it all the time in the videos that I send to guys, like, the quicker you understand that every play is not a highlight, the better off you'll be. You know what I mean? Because and it's harder for skill guys and even linebackers sometimes. You know what I mean? If it's not if it's not you making the play like individually, and you're like the second or third guy to the party, and you're knocking the pile down, not a highlight. Same thing. Skill guys struggle with this. I do receivers all the time. The highlight tape 6, 7, 8 minutes long, and they've got 10 plays up there where the catch is less than 10 yards.
Like a
I'm
hitch
not
route.
saying that's not a good play for your team. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that is not a highlight. And when we're talking about college recruiting, you want to show off the very best that you have in order to move the needle. So to piggyback off of that, every play is not a highlight, and that's what you have to keep in mind. Okay, it needs to show transferable skills that translate to the collegiate level. That's what moves the needle in recruiting, and that's why we try to help these guys with the highlight tape.
Hmm, love it. All right, cool. Let's keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, so those are the plays I had. I had him adjust just on the tape itself. So having said all, having gone through all that, and again, I watched the entire tape, so I'm doing a full body of work. But for these purposes, I wanted to make sure you saw what I had him adjust and for what reasons. But I thought those 4 plays he needed to move to the front, and then I suggested that he take that last one out. And having watched the whole tape. I have him targeting. I think he's a solid NAIA Division II player right now that is borderline, Division I FCS. And the reason for that is his size. I think, he may get, even if he doesn't get much bigger, 6'1" and 210, 215 pounds is a really nice sized kid in high school. Even if he was a senior entering college next year at that size, I'd be really happy with it. Because again, if they want to put a little more on, they can do it their way and give him a target weight and all that stuff. But even if he gets a little bigger next year, his size is right where you need it to be. So that factored in, which is why I think he's borderline FCS. I love his instincts and I love his physicality that he plays with right now. He's got good little short area burst. But some things I told him that he really needed to work on. There's some plays in there, that we didn't see. There's a little bit of hip stiffness in there, in space and things like that when he's really got to get out and run and open it up. So I really told him to really work on, change of direction, hip flexibility, stretching, things like that. Hopefully he's a track guy, to get some long speed going or doing some kind of speed work, in the off season. And I think if he can do even some of that stuff this off season, if he was to hit a camp circuit this summer that consisted of some FCS schools, I really think he could get on some boards, heading into his senior year. And the same thing with, reaching out to the NAIA Division IIs. I think he's a solid scholarship player there right now, even with the junior tape. But I think doing some of those other things can really, this is a kid that if, he really works hard at that stuff and moves the needle, with some of those other attributes and combine it with what he's already doing now, we may be talking about a different evaluation this time next year.
Love that. So, one question that I know a lot of people are thinking right now, so I'm just going to ask it is like, what's the difference? Because he does have pretty good size, right? What's the difference
Yep.
between him and an FBS guy or even an SEC guy? Like,
Right.
where are we falling? Is it just the speed? Is it
Yeah. Yeah.
because you see
That's,
linebackers that have that size at even in the
yeah.
SEC level?
Yeah. It's a good question. Yeah, at that size, like I said, that's a really good size for just any level, really. You know what I mean? As far as just
Yeah.
basic size, you know what I mean? And again, it's on these you don't see the whole tape. You know what I mean? So you have to keep that in mind. So but the difference is, yeah, it's explosion. It's the way they run. It's their flexibility. It's just the tape is, you can tell, it's just, if you put them side by side, it's just so much more dynamic. And some of it is just God given ability, versus one or the other. Some people are just given more God given ability naturally than others. But even, the way they're filled out physically, and things like that. Those guys, at the very, very top of college football, for the most part. And again, let me give a disclaimer here: there are outliers, guys. You know what I mean? There's some that get opportunities up there that look very similar to guys, that are getting lower level offers. It's not a exact science. You know what I mean? If it was, the same team win the Super Bowl every year. The NFL would never get it wrong if it was an exact science. They don't even get it right all the time. But for the most part, it is more of the athletic traits. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
speed, the explosion, the dynamic movements, things like that. And again, to someone who's watched a lot of tape, not just myself, but anybody, if you put them side by side, you would be able to see a clear difference.
Yeah.
And it's more volume of those plays. You know what I
Right.
mean? Those the really, really high level guys that I've ever recruited over the years. They may have a 4.5 or a 5 minute tape or whatever, and every single one of them that plays like, holy smokes, you know what I mean? He can help us win.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's
Right.
not like, well, you know, I don't know, you know, it's a no brainer, you know.
Right. Especially like when you're talking about the SEC level. Um, so not the Big Ten, just the SEC.
Yeah, really a lot of Power Four in general. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
that, there's a lot of those really good players floating around up there, man. And that's why you know that's why you're seeing the parity in college football now. You know what I mean? Because they're really good players in, you know, FCS and G5 and D2 and other places like that. For some reason, you know what I mean. For whatever reason, don't get recruited as heavily. You know what I mean? And they go have really good careers. You know, because now they can level up. But that's a
Yeah.
good question. But that's usually typically what it comes down to. And some of it, guys, is position specific. Remember that every position is different. What makes you an elite level player at each level, at each position, is very different. So you have to keep that in mind too.
Sweet. Love it. Brian, appreciate your time jumping on here and doing a quick evaluation with us. And thank you all for joining us today on this evaluation. We launch these every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific. What is that? 11 a.m. Eastern. So make sure to tune back, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification if you'd like to continue to watch these. We also post a video every single Monday, which is our podcast at 3 o'clock Pacific, as well as Wednesdays at 3 o'clock Pacific. So if you want to continue to watch content, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And also, lastly, if you want to, if you have a son and you want us to evaluate him as well, obviously when we do an evaluation, it's much more in depth than this. This is just more of a high level that we post here on YouTube. But if you'd like to see if your son meets the criteria to get an evaluation, I'll leave a link in the description below, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.